I'm Dawson Schmidt here with the latest stories and developments in this week's Commodity Roundup on Trader PhD. Corn and soybean producers shouldn't have to worry too much about the frost as they finish up this harvest season. That's basically because harvest is done, according to the USDA's latest crop progress report. As of Sunday, 95% of the corn harvest was complete. USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says progress is well ahead of normal, with few states below 90%.
That is still 11 percentage points ahead of the 5-year average, also ahead of last year's 86%. Looking at our 18 production states, only 3 of them have not reached the 90% harvested mark for corn. 2 of them are outside the Midwest. Pennsylvania, about a third of the crop left to harvest, but even there, 67% harvested in Pennsylvania is ahead of the 5-year average of 65%. Colorado at 82% harvested, 3 points behind. And then Wisconsin, the only Midwestern state with more than a tenth of the crop still in the field, 89% of the corn harvested on November 10th. 5-year average, though, is just 63%, again reflecting how quick of a harvest this was.
The USDA noted that 96% of the soybean crop was harvested, also tracking ahead of last year and the 5-year average. Slower progress was seen for states outside of the Corn Belt, while harvest was complete in Louisiana, North Dakota, and Minnesota. Meanwhile, harvest progress moved along in the South with 71% of the cotton harvested. Progress was also ahead of last year and the 5-year average, but slower progress was noted in Oklahoma after rain stalled some field work last week. While U.S. farmers are wrapping up the harvest season, some Brazilian farmers are finishing up corn and soybean planting. Mato Grosso's Institute of Agricultural Economics reported that farmers in Mato Grosso had planted 92% of their soybean crop as of last week. Planting progressed rapidly throughout October and November after drought caused a slow start to the season. Planting progress was bolstered by Brazil's monsoon, bringing beneficial moisture to the region. Planting surpassed the pace seen last year and sat above the 5-year average. Brazilian consultancy firm Agruel reported that the overall progress for the country sat at 67% complete, which was still ahead of last year's pace. Last year, Brazil's monsoonal rain shut off early, hurting crop development. However, principal atmospheric scientist Eric Snodgrass says this year could be different.
That's not going to be the case this year. Over the next 10 days, this is Mato Grosso right here. We've got plenty of precip coming in. There's better precip for southern Brazil, even most of Argentina. Maybe a couple of areas like around Buenos Aires, Cordoba could be drier, but I don't see anything alarming about this map at all. And just keeping on this area, this is what the 20th of November to the 20th of December looks like. And it's that same scenario. The models keep this area wet. They're drier on the corners. I think I've drawn this like 500 times, but that's the way I think the pattern is going to look. That's a very La Nina look. And if you just go longer term, this is what November, December, January is expected to look like. December, January, February, January, February, March. If there's drought risk, it's on the corners. That would be Argentina and northeast Brazil. In the middle, I think we got plenty of precipitation coming into that area to make sure that this crop likely will be large coming out of the center west region.
Drought conditions are still challenging cattle herd expansion despite recent moisture, which is impacting meat packer margins. As of last Tuesday, 54% of cattle in the U.S. were located in drought areas. That was down 8% from the previous week after rain had reached some areas, but drought coverage still sat 16 percentage points above a year ago. That is preventing cattle producers from holding back heifers, with a high percentage of females still in feedlots. High cattle prices are squeezing packer margins, which have been negative for much of the past year. Squeezed margins have occurred despite strong beef cutout prices. Tyson Foods reported its fourth quarter earnings on Tuesday, beating initial expectations. However, the company noted a decline in profitability for the fourth quarter and the full year. Thanks for watching. I'm Dawson Schmidt, and this has been Trader PhD.